Hey everyone, today's video is a requested video on the differences or comparisons of living in an apartment, like apartment living, everything that goes along with your living costs, versus what it costs to live in a camper and all the living costs. So I'm not going to go over like things that aren't related to the living costs, like gas and food and, cell phone bills and weird. I'm not going to go through any of that stuff. I'm just going through like rent payments and, lot rent payments, stuff like that. So I have it written down on a piece of paper. Sorry if it's bad handwriting or just really crappy looking organization, but I'll go through everything as best as I can and explain it. And sorry about background noise because there's stuff going on out there. They're watching a movie, so let's get through this. So, this first one, apartment. So, I Googled the average rent payment in the U.S., and I think it was actually like $960 something monthly. And then I Googled what like a house payment is on average, and that was like a little like $1,050. So I'm just saying rent $1,000, whether maybe that could be like the amount of your mortgage too. So this could go for a house too, or like an average apartment. And I remember when I lived in an apartment, like average electric would be like $50. Sometimes it was cheaper if it was summer and you aren't running like the air conditioner or certain things like that. But that's just a general, average price. And if you already live in an apartment or a house, just go through your own bills and, compare it. Because this is definitely not what everybody pays. I mean, some people's house payments might be $2,000 depending on, how lavish their lifestyle is. And, usually some other payments that go with it are you usually need like a month deposit for an apartment. And water and trash are usually included in your rent payment, and sometimes other utilities are too, like heat, like if you have gas heat, or, I don't know how they would do electric. I don't know if that goes on your electric bill or what, but, so it's kind of depends on individual. So living costs for an apartment, we have $1,050 a month. So then I have two different camper ones. I have one where you are on a camper lot, and then I have one where, assuming you're just boondocking, which is kind of our lifestyle. So it depends on whether you're going to have a loan on your camper or not. Like, if you can definitely find campers out there that are just like a few $1,000s, and if you could just save up and pay them off, that'd be great. We actually have a loan on ours, so on average, a loan for a camper could be anywhere between $100 and $300 a month, depending on how much you paid for that camper. So, just adding that and, keep that in the back of your mind. And then lot rent on average, at least in this area, it could be as cheap as $300 or it could be $700 or even more. I mean, there's campsites, like there's like a few different kinds of people that live in campers. There's ones that do it to be super cheap and save money, and, like try really hard, just being super cheap and, just freedom and all that. But then there's other people that, they also like the freedom part, but they're just out to travel, and they might already be retired, or have like really nice, like or have jobs where they're just traveling or stuff like that. Or just, really big retirements, like a lot of military people, or we're in this group called Full-Time Families on Facebook. So, like some people, they're just rich and they're just traveling and they're blowing, they might spend $1,000 a month on some really fancy campground or somewhere. So it just depends. Like, we are doing this to be as cheap as we can, but we do love all the other stuff that comes along with the lifestyle. But so camper, if you were in a lot, you can find as cheap as $300, but there's definitely more expensive ones out there. I'm just going to say the average is $500. And usually if you're going to get a lot, the water and sewage are included, and electric is included. So if you're not going to have electric heat in your camper, if you have propane, you can just assume that in the summertime, it's probably around $50 per month. That usually goes for cooking and your water heater and maybe your fridge, depending on, what kind of fridge usually I think the fridge is run on propane, ours does. And in the wintertime, it's going to be more because most campers' heat runs on propane, which ours does too, and we've noticed that. Like, we spent so much last winter, but we found a place where they have way cheaper propane, so this winter should be a lot better. So these are the prices, you can figure for camping with a lot. If you have a loan, you can assume that your living costs is $775 on average a month. And if you don't have a loan, on average it could be $625 a month. And, just think of that compared to like a mortgage or an apartment. $1,000, you're already going down to $775 or even $625. That's a big difference, and that allows you to, save a few $100s there every month. And then, so here's what we're doing. Camper 100% boondocking. So we do have a camper loan, but this isn't our exact budget. I'm just generalizing here. So if you have a loan anywhere from $100 to $300 like before, add that in. Propane $50 to $300, depending on the season. And we have solar, so that's free energy. Like, I wouldn't recommend boondocking if you don't have solar. You'd probably be trying to go off a generator. Unless you have like a really nice camper van where, you're, I don't even know how, I haven't looked into camper vans much, but if you're boondocking, it's a good thing to have solar unless you're really going to be roughing it. So adding that all together, assume $275 a month for your living costs if you have a loan. And if you don't have a loan, it could be as low as $125 a month if no loan, just on average. Maybe winter it might be more because you're spending more propane or whatever happens, but just think of that. You're going from $1,000 all the way down to, $275 or even $125 a month. So it's definitely a big difference. If you think this is just unrealistic, go through all of your go through your budget and see what you're actually paying for your mortgage or your rent, and just think of how much you could be spending. A lot less with the camper lifestyle, and it's definitely a lot. You got to get rid of stuff, sell stuff, downsize, but it's definitely worth it. Thanks for watching.